family, Sabrina here. Today we are actually going to go to the brewery and we're going to watch Rob make beer from beginning to end. We're going to get in Buck, our boho truck. Let's go. Here we are, boho. Today we're going to do a couple of things. Mostly we're going to observe Rob make a Czech lager. Are you ready?
Today we're going to make Czech pale lager.
We're going to make what?
Czech pale lager. Let's go make some beer. What we're doing today, right now, is first of all, we're doing a Czech lager, which does a double decoction mash, which are actually boiling the grains. And so when I had this system built, we have an oil-jacketed, electric heated mash tun, so we can do step mashes and decoction mashes in the mash tun. So the way we do it here, the way we do it in Bohemian back in the day, we would boil some and a small portion, bring it back, raise the temperature. So we don't have to really do that anymore. So what we do here is to put about half the mash in with the grist and the water, and then we run the steps, and then we do the decoction mash, and then we turn that off. Then we add the rest of the water and grist, and then run those steps again. And then when it's ready, again, we pull about 2/3 of the liquid into the kettle, and it holds it at 152, and then we boil it again, the mash. And then we bring all that wort back over into it after a 15-minute boil. And then we run that through, we vorloff, and we sparge. And
we're going to get to see all those fun things today.
So again, 95% of beer is water. So water is super important. We do reverse osmosis. And now we're building up the water profile for Czechoslovakia, where they make the Czech Far Bud Far. It's one of my favorite ones, and that's kind of where my ancestors came from, that area. And that's what we're trying to do right now. You know, when you're doing IPAs or hazy IPAs, you're putting a lot of sulfide or chloride in. This is just little minimal stuff, just to build it up to a slight, super soft profile.
Thanks. Yeah, I think I'll stick to chocolate chip cookies.
Meanwhile, in our universe.
But can you explain kind of what it's doing here?
So when the grain is ground through the grinder, it falls into this tube, which has a suction on this side and pressure going out through the hose that blows the product up into the mash.
Wow. So basically no other breweries have this because you created this from scratch, correct?
Yes.
Wow, that's impressive. Huh. We are so lucky. Is this the mash tun right here?
This is the mash tun.
Okay.
We're going to preheat that, get that some hot. We're going to run that hot water through our heat exchanger just to make sure we clean out any of the sanitizer we had in there.
So this concoction would eliminate Robbie having to pick up all these gigantic heavy bags of grain that he comes home and complains about later and asking for a massage. That's what it is. Well, I am all for this then.
Oh, I've been waiting for this. Oh boy, I've been waiting for this. What's up?
We do about 1 pound of Saz hops in the mash.
What are they?
They're hops. These are Saz hops from the Czech Republic.
Ah.
And so we do a mash hop with this one for smoother bitterness. Also helps mitigate any metallic flavor sometimes you can get. So.
Very interesting. So is that filling up with water?
Yeah, so right now we've got our RO tank through our on-demand hot water system. Comes up in here. We measure it out through our flow meter. And so we got 51 liters in there so far. We'll just get up to 60 and then we'll start our mashing.
So what exactly is going on up there? Well, let's check it out. You can see that the grain is now in the mash tun, and it's mashing. It's mashing away. Wow. What happens after you mash all that lovely grain?
We'll let that sit there for about 40 minutes. Then we pull about half the liquid off. We got 157 liters. We're actually going to pull about 75 off. Put it in the kettle, let it rest there at 152, and then set that to boil. And then when the boiling starts, you can actually smell it. It smells like fresh baked bread. And then we boil for 30 minutes. We bring the liquid, the wort from the kettle, back to the mash tun, and then add the rest of grist and water. And it brings back it down to about 144. And then we let it sit there for a while, bring it back to 152, 162, then do another transfer over. Got all that? Transfer over
Got it.
about half of that, and so we should be about 400 liters. So we'll bring, actually going to bring over about 170, no, we'll bring 185 liters over to the kettle and let that rest again at 152 while that goes up to boil. Okay, we'll boil that for about 10 minutes on that one, and then we transfer the wort back over. Sounds familiar, right? Back over, combine all those.
You're talking about these two here, right?
Yeah.
The mash tun and the kettle. Back to the mash tun.
Back to the mash.
Back to the mash.
And back to the mash.
And then back to the kettle, finally?
Yeah.
And then back
Finally.
to the kettle.
After about 3 hours, we'll start to boil.
Holy moly, 3 hours. You're amazing.
It's good beer, so you want to make sure you do it the right way.
Damn good
And
beer.
it is really malty.
Let her cook. Big yo come through frying shit. Hey, let her cook. Okay. Too much cake out bad. Be on guard. Let her cook. All this sauce I'm trying shit. Let me cook.
These are some of the beers that we have in a can. We also have a mug club. So if you are in the area, come in and join the mug club. You get a 20-ounce club mug, a free t-shirt, and you get one free pour per month plus 10% off all to-go beer. The cans, the growlers, and kegs. It's $150 per person, and we have a lot of club mug club members, and they do say it's definitely worth to join. Boho is on a 337-acre property here in Parkville, Missouri. The place is home to residents, commercial properties, and industrial developments as well. You can see here this boho tree. We call it the boho tree, but it is the tree that is centered in the middle of the courtyard. It lights up in different colors depending on the time of year and the holiday. It's beautiful to see at night. Running a brewery is definitely a full-time job. I can just see by looking around that it needs a woman's touch. The 3 guys that work for us are amazing. But I have to work full-time to keep the lights on at home for now. But when it gets cold on the weekends, it gets very, very, very busy. And the tap wood, or the tap handles that you see here, are also made from 100-year-old wood. Each tap handle is beautifully made by one of our friends who creates tap handles for breweries, among other things. As you can see right now, these are the beers that we have on tap. Later on, I'll ask Robbie about each beer. Each beer is made with such love. Other than like the typical IPA or the pale ale, the Christmas wit is very popular. Parkville pale ale. The Kolsch is what he is making today. And then, of course, the same source. Robbie came up with the name, same source, and the beer, because we just both believe that we all come from the same source. Today you are brewing the Pale Czech Lager. Can you tell me a little bit about the Pale Czech Lager?
Yeah, so that's kind of one of our flagships. So Boho is short for Bohemia. The Pilsner Bohemia is the birthplace of the light Czech lager. One of the first ones brewed, and it's been the #1 selling beer in the world for about 185 years now. So we do that one. We do traditional double decoction mash, not a triple. Continental hops and malts as well. And it's a long process, but it's worth it. It's just the flavor, the mouthfeel is nice, soft and rounder. That nice smooth bitterness at the end.
So it's a longer process than most of the beers you brew?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why? What makes it a longer process?
So 2 decoction mashes end up taking about 4 hours long. So most of your single mash infusion mash beers, they'll take 45 to 30 minutes, or 45 minutes to an hour, maybe 90 minutes, depending on how dry you want it to be. What we do, the way we are set up, we do part of the mash, we run our steps, we do about 44, 52, 162, and then we bring it to a boil. We transfer some of that before the boil. We transfer some over the kettle and just hold that about 152. And then once the boil starts, we add cold water to bring it back down to about 144 and start the whole process over again.
So when you say 152, 144, are you talking about degrees?
Fahrenheit.
So that's hot.
Well, it's not hot. Boiling's pretty hot.
Boiling
but those
is
are
hot.
the temperatures to get the right sugar profile that we like.
Okay, so what are the beers that you have on top right now? Do you know?
I do know, actually.
Okay, what are they? Let's
We
see.
just put our Vienna lager on Friday.
Okay, what is
That's
that?
been
Tell me a little bit about each one.
Vienna lager is a kind of an amber-colored lager. Really, in our case, we don't have a lot of caramel flavor or roasty notes. It's more like toast, a nice sweet maltiness and a toast, almost like a dark toast kind of character. And then the hops come in at the end and kind of dry your mouth out again, so you want to have another drink. So that one, our Baltic Porter, which is like a lagered stout, not super roasty, more of the chocolate line, and it's very smooth as well. We do no decoction mash on that, but we do single infusion, and then we use lager yeast. So it takes about 2.5 months for that one before it's finally ready.
Wow. So where does it sit for 2.5 months?
Well, for about 3 weeks it sits in a conical vertical fermenter, and then when it goes down to, and we ferment that fairly cool, like around 60 degrees, so you don't get a lot of off flavors from a high, probably going beyond what people want to know, but
That's okay, they'll ask questions.
Too high of a fermentation temperature can create alcohols in there that aren't very pleasant. So this is very smooth, low and slow. And then after 3 weeks in the conical, we ship it over to a horizontal lager tank where it spends the rest of its life.
I have a question. What's a conical?
So conical's round. So conical vertical. So it's a vertical tank with a cone at the bottom, and those are our fermentation tanks.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So round. It's got a cone at the bottom to catch the yeast and the.
All right. Let's talk about the other 10.
Right next to that is our black IPA. That's one I built in 2009, I think, and that's been a favorite of a lot of people. We just do that in the fall, winter months. Then recently we just put on a classic West Coast Pale Ale. So a little bit on the darker spectrum, so some nice Crystal 60, classic, what you think about that. So sweet malt, a little bit of caramel flavor, and 100% Cascade hops in there. So about 5.5%. And we also recently put on a West Coast IPA with tons of Simcoe. So Simcoe is a hop that is just delicious.
Just delicious.
It is. It's
I don't drink, so I don't know. You'll have to tell me.
We did about 5 pounds per barrel on the West Coast here. So, and predominantly Simcoe. Like I said, there's Chinook and Centennial in there, and a little bit of Cascade as well we do in the mash. Next to that, I think is our Kolsch, classic German ale, classic style anyway, all continental hops and malts. But we do only a Whirlpool edition hops. We don't do bitter hops or boil hops. It's a Whirlpool Pure Melon Hallertau Blanc. So it's just about 20 BUs and a nice little citrusy kind of little grapefruit and melon kind of character to it. So not over the top. We also use Fru strain of the Kolsch yeast, so that also adds a little bit of fruitiness and nice soft body. But it's still crispy. We have a pretty high bicarbonate in the water profile, so it's still nice and crispy. Nice. Parkville Pale Ale, a New England style hazy. This one is basically 2-row and oat malt, and then the hops are Eldorado and Mosaic, and that's it on that one. So, and then one of our best sellers is Same Source. Same Source is a reference to God. We all come from the same source. He provides for us, and then finally we get to return Same Source. So that is our hazy IPA. Big. It is a juicy one. We do add probably a little bit higher BUs than most people. It's around 28, so it does have a little bit of structure to it still. It's not just a soft and flabby beer. And we use Citra, Mosaic, Crush, and Nectaron hops in there. So
what's Mosaic?
It's a hop.
It's a hop? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. I'd say 99% of all hazy IPAs have Citra and Mosaic. They're just a great combination. They work well with other hops, and it's just kind of like, I was telling someone, it's like Citra is kind of like Bluetooth. It just like talks to everybody and makes it all connect. So it's just one of those. It can you and your bands. It's like you can be in the front. Citra can lead the show, be the lead singer, or it can kind of like sit in the background and do background harmonies and stuff. So really diverse hop, awesome orange character, citrus, so
nice,
amazing. We've got American lager on, just a Pilsner, a little bit of Vienna, Tettnang hops in that one.
Christmas wit.
Oh,
that's popular.
That is, So kind of a double wit. It's 8%, classically done.
Woo! 8% is high, right?
For a wit, yeah.
Like you shouldn't drink a Christmas wit. You'll be very witty after you drink a Christmas wit. You'll be so witty.
The wit of the party.
Don't be the witty
so
wit of the party. Go ahead.
Do a whirlpool of coriander and orange peel, and then once fermentation's done, we dump the yeast and then finish with Indian long pepper, which gives it kind of a smoky, cedary note that reminds me of my childhood Christmas mornings with some good trees in this fireplace. So, and we always have an orange at the bottom of the stocking, so that's why.
Really?
Yeah.
Like that was real, huh? Well, you grew up in a town of like 500 people, kind of like Little House on the Prairie.
Are we is part of the show?
No. I want to talk a little bit about how you came up with the name Boho and what it's short for. And
I did that already.
Did you win?
That was the very first thing.
Did you?
They told me about the Czech lager. Well, we're at Boho. Boho is short for Bohemian. That's the birthplace of the.
Yeah.
I mean, are you?
Am I here?
I don't hear anything I say.
I do, but. So this is part of the sanitization process. The water comes in through the large blue tube up into the bright tank. Oh, I remembered the name. There's a ball that spins around and sanitizes the inside of the bright tank in preparation for the beer to come. This is better than reading Rainbow. Woohoo!
2 hours later.
So these are already have residents in them.
Residents? Little people?
There's people living in here.
Little beer people live inside there.
Occupancy on these two. So we got dark Czech and American lager down here.
Nice.
Nothing bright tank right now. We've got Kolsch, tank 5.
All right.
Pale Czech lager's going in tank 4.
3, we got the same source, which I let you smell earlier.
Yes.
And then tank 2, we've got.
Because I can only
bourbon
smell.
bison.
Okay, right. I never was really much of a beer drinker because I'm sober, so I don't drink. But I'll tell you what, his customers go crazy over his beer. I go crazy. Okay, so it goes from that tank. You see that tube goes all the way to its new home, which is this bright tank here. And that will be where it sits for 3 weeks. Nice. So I'm really tired. I don't know why, because I really didn't do a lot of work. But I've been here since, I don't know, we started about 9 o'clock this morning, and it is almost 5. We'll probably be done here in another hour or so. 2.5 hours. Christmas wit. Well, why do you like Christmas wit?
I like it's different. I like that it's smoky.
Smoky.
Yeah, it's got a nice little smokiness to it. It kind of gives you that comfort of home, kind of a warming feeling.
Well, Chris is actually responsible for the wonderful sweatshirts and t-shirts that we have. Look. Oh, he's wearing one now. Oh,
Actually, I'm doubled up today.
Oh, double
Always,
boho.
always.
Woohoo! And this is Christmas wit. Oh, that's beautiful. Lovely. You've been here from the beginning, right? You've been
2
here
years
since.
exactly.
You've
As
been
of
here.
today. Is it the 30th? Yeah.
You were here on day 1. This is Jake, very handsome young man. His girlfriend works next door, Whiskey River.
That's great.
So yeah, this is awesome. And so, you still like working here after 2 years?
I do.
Oh, that's awesome.
Why I'm here today
We
on,
love
on a
having-
Monday.
Well, it helps to have a beautiful girlfriend right next door too. It gives you a little inspiration, right? All right. Speaking of Whiskey River, we actually had a door created to go into Whiskey River. We won't go in there today because this is about brewing, but this is a lovely little restaurant where people can bring their pizza into the brewery and eat it. So that's Taylor. Say hi, Taylor. Taylor is Jake's girlfriend, and she works right next door. Come over here, Taylor. I said, come over here, Taylor. This is Taylor. Taylor works next door. So you guys met here, right?
Me and Jake?
Yeah,
Yes, I did.
yeah,
Yes, we
yeah.
met because we work next door to each other.
And today's your anniversary
For him.
for him.
Yes. His work anniversary.
Working here. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought your anniversary.
No, ours is in May.
Oh, how sweet.
May the 4th weekend.
Well, what do you like about working at Whiskey River?
I like, honestly, all the food, genuinely. We
Jake?
have a really good bar. Like, really, I've worked in restaurants where you're like, oh, yeah, it's good. But, like, all the food is really good.
All the food is really
A
good.
good bar program, lots of fun cocktails. It's small, which is better if you have more personal relationships with your table than just a turn and burn. But
That's
I
awesome.
like it.
Oh, that was lovely. Thank you, Taylor.